on, girl, let's scream.
I am a god.
No, please don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel. This is the part where you run.
Come on, scream.
Hello, and welcome to Let's Scream, a podcast where we dive into our favorite horror movies. I'm Stevie.
And I'm Parker. Today we are looking at 2024's Night Swim, directed by Bryce McGuire.
Join us as we journey to the swimming pool and learn all about swimming at night. Are you ready to swim?
Girl, let's swim!
So this is Bryce McGuire's directorial debut, we learned. And this movie is based off of a short story and a short film that him and Rod Blackhurst did in 2014. And the film stars Wyatt Russell and Carrie Coden as
The parents.
Mom
and Dad.
Ray and Eve. I don't know either of them. And then there is their daughter, Izzy, who is Amelia Hoffrey. Their son, Elliot, is Gavin Warren.
So, this is our most recent film. This movie just came out a few weeks ago that we've covered on the pod. It is a Blumhouse horror movie. So, maybe we should get into, like, my kind of take on where we are in horror in modern day, because we've never done one this recent before.
Yeah.
So, this movie... So, you got two kind of the tycoons of horror production companies. You've got A24 and you've got Blumhouse. A24 has made a lot of these, like, thought-provoking, high concept, kind of interesting movies.
Twists on the horror genre.
Blumhouse is less consistent than A24. And it's a little bit more, like, hokey pokey, like, scary. Like, it's not as, like, oh, this is cinema. Blumhouse, I feel like, for the most part, is gonna be your jump scare movies. You're more, like, lowest common denominator. Like, I hate to say it, but it's kind of the vibe right
It's like,
now.
okay. Like, the concept is literally a monster in a swimming pool.
Right, exactly. You're not taking away any life lessons from this movie. You're not gonna...
It's not gonna make you think. It's literally just there. It kind of just throws the plot at you in the last third, and it's like, oh. It just gives you a more like a lazy exposition, I guess.
Yeah, and more cliche, which we'll get into in this, but I thought that Night Swim was pretty okay. For the most part. I didn't think it was terribly offensive or bad.
No.
But it wasn't great.
Will I seek it out again? No.
No. But you know what?
If somebody asks me to walk about my opinion, I'd be like, it was fine.
It was just fine. It was mid.
Yeah, I wouldn't... You don't need to... It's not, like, a priority to see this film.
No. Unless you're here for the camp of it all. Because there were some fun things that they did. And if... You know what? I would say for a January horror movie, it wasn't the worst one I've seen. Because that's another thing about this movie is that it's coming out in this month, and they always put, like, some of the movies that they think are going to do the worst in January.
Yeah, because they just don't know. It's a big...
Yeah. For the most part, movies that are released in January.
But the thing is, the past 2 years, there have been really good ones. Because last year was Megan. Which was a hit. And then the year before that was Redacted.
Redacted 5. But, yeah, Megan made us kind of think, okay, maybe the curse of January movies being like the shitty movies of the year could be over. This movie does not like continue that trend at all.
Nope.
It's a bad January horror movie. But, it's not horrible. I would say if you like scary movies and you're intrigued by the concept of a haunted swimming pool, give it a watch.
Yeah.
I had a fun time watching it with Stevie and just kind of making fun of it.
Yeah.
It's very that movie, that kind of vibe. I don't know. Anything else you want to say before we get into spoilers?
I thought the actors were all good. I thought everyone in the film was really good. My only problem was the script is not really there.
They did what they could with that horrible script.
And it just kind of wasn't... They took a swing.
Basically, yeah, at this point we're going to get into spoilers for Night Swim. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, or you don't want to get the movie spoiled, go ahead and watch Night Swim and then come back and dive into the plot with us. All right. Ready to go for a swim, girl?
I'm ready to go for a night swim.
A night swim. Okay, so we start this movie off. We're in the summer of 1992.
Yes.
See a little girl. She wakes up from the sound of this like little toy boat that submerges in their swimming pool out back. And she looks out the window and notices the boat, like, it's like a little motorized one, and it's kind of like swimming around in this pool. And she goes into her brother's room. Her brother's name is Tommy, I think, and Tommy is sick. He's on some kind of like respirator or something.
Yeah.
He was sick, and she says, Tommy, your boat's out there. The boat that went missing. I'm gonna go and retrieve it for you. And she puts on her big ass fluffy bunny slippers, which were really cute. And she goes out to the pool and gets one of those nets, those big long pool net things.
Yes.
And starts fishing around for this toy boat, which at now suddenly has sunk down to the bottom of the pool. It's not turned on anymore. And she's trying to get it, and she gets like water bended into the pool, kind of like it like whooshes her in.
Or I thought she got pulled by the
stick.
The stick. That's what I thought. It was
Maybe
happening.
that's what it was. I don't know, but she basically
it was a very suspenseful. I thought this whole opening scene was very suspenseful and very well done.
I'll tell you what it reminded me of.
I will say this. When we watched this, I said, wow, that was really good. Watch that be the best part of the movie.
And
it was.
You were right, yeah. It's a very suspenseful scene, and I think that it is paying homage to the beginning of the original Jaws. I think it's a very kind of a copy and paste of that, because you see someone going out, it's late at night, she's in the pool, and something grabs her foot or grabs her leg, and we see her get dragged into the water, and then she pops out and kind of gets pulled around, and it's very like that scene at the beginning of Jaws when that girl is going for a swim and she gets like jerked around by the shark.
She also, while she's underwater, she sees like before she starts getting like jerked around, she like
that's right.
She sees her mom like
reaching out for
Rebecca,
her.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, and she's like, oh, okay. And she's like trying to swim, and when she gets out of the water,
no one's there.
And then she starts to leave, turns back and sees the boat.
Oh, that's
pops
right.
Back up,
yeah.
And she's like,
let me try and get it one more time. And then she gets snatched.
Yeah. And this little girl sold it.
She was great. Yeah. Great little actress. Again, all the actors in this movie take a pretty measly script.
Yeah.
And do something, pretty good with it. So yeah, that's our cold open. This little girl gets killed by some invisible entity that we don't see.
Yes.
Then we flash forward to modern day, and we meet our family, who they're on the hunt for a new house. And we're introduced to the parents. It's Ray and Stevie, can you tell me what? Eve. Ray and Eve are our parents. Ray he uses a cane. That's what kind of all we see so far is that he is using a cane, and he keeps as they're driving around looking at houses, he's seeing the dads out playing with their kids in the yard. And he's like missing being able to be active and play with his kids and stuff like that. So we get the hint that he maybe has an injury, or we don't know yet.
Yeah.
Oh, and they have 2 kids. They have a boy and a girl.
Yes.
Don't remember their names. Stevie, do you want to give me their names? Do you have it pulled up?
Izzy is the eldest daughter, and then Elliot is their son.
Izzy and Elliot. Okay. Anywho, they go and they're looking at a house and they're talking to this like cheesy real estate agent who I thought sold like this kind of corny depiction of a real estate agent very well. We learned that the mom is studying to get her degree in special education, and she just got a new job working for this school district, I think. And they're looking at the house that they're currently looking at. The real estate agent tells them that it's just going for a great price.
Yeah.
Which, if you've ever seen any haunted house movie, it's going to start with a realtor being like, oh, this house is a great price. Or we got this house for a great price. It's like American
Horror Story.
Yeah, it's exactly like season 1 of American Horror Story.
The first season, it's like, oh my god, no, this house, love it.
This house is just, I wonder how we can just afford it. My goodness. There's a pool.
It's covered up.
Mm-hmm. So and it's got leaves and the dad goes and is like looking into the water, and he gets snatched into the pool. He kind of gets, again, like water bended into it.
Yeah.
Kind of. And while he's down there, he's getting pulled down by an invisible force. And he starts to have flashbacks. Like, almost like they say when you're about to die, your whole life flashes before your eyes kind of thing. He's getting flashbacks to when he was a professional baseball player who was apparently really successful. But as we see, they think that he's had some kind of episode, and they take him to the hospital, and this is where we learn that he actually has a form of multiple sclerosis, or MS. So he's losing control of his body, basically. And it's a muscular disorder.
Like, tell him, like, you can do yoga.
For, like, this, for physical therapy and stuff.
Physical therapy, stretching, like, blah, blah, blah. But then they also say,
swimming. And we looked at each other like, oh, there's the setup. Literally, there's the setup. So, yeah. And when they're having a moment with each other at the hospital. And they're talking about, well, do we think maybe moving is a good idea? And he's reflecting on his past, his career, and feels like, obviously depressed because he's, not only is he losing control of his body, but he's not able to do baseball anymore, which was his passion.
Yeah.
And I feel like the wife is kind of, she's using his, like, disorder as a way to make some kind of an excuse for them not to have to move around anymore, because she explains that, like, life was always really hard when we were jumping from different team to different team and always having to travel, and now we can, like, finally, like, settle down and plant some roots here in this neighborhood. And, like, girl, I get it, but, like, maybe be a little bit more sensitive to, like, what your husband's going through is kind of the vibe that I got from her.
Like, his whole career is over.
Yeah. And, like, his love was baseball, and now he can't fucking do baseball anymore. So, obviously, it's going to be hard for him. But I kind of get what she means, because she's also, like, ready to...
Girl, we have a family.
Yeah, we have a family.
I mean, like, dude, we have a family.
Yeah, like, we...
But, like, girl as in, like, the general term, like, girl.
Yeah, like
girl.
Pull it
together.
Like girl. G-U-R-L.
I get you, like, can't play your little sports games anymore, but, like, we got 2 kids.
Yeah, maybe think about how this could be good for the family as a whole. So she's trying to just focus on the positives, but it's kind of a little toxic positivity, in my opinion. Okay, so we see a montage of them moving into the new house. And the kids are starting up at the new school.
Yes.
Okay, so the kids have like a kind of they tease each other and they call each other like dipshit and like
Barf bag.
Barf bag.
I think
Yeah.
it says barf bag.
Just, typical like tweens. She's older than her brother. Her brother's like middle school age.
And she's like a teenager.
She's like high school age, yeah. And when on her first day of the new school, this like cute swim team boy starts flirting with her.
Swim?
And we were like, swim?
And so she's like, oh, swim
Yeah.
Were there tryouts or something?
He wanted her to come to the meet to see him swim. And so she's like, oh, I have a new pool. Maybe I can invite this cute boy over
to my swimming.
So the dad, we get the scene of the dad. The pool's all drained out, and he's cleaning the drain, and he is on his hands and knees. And this actor is scrumptious, I must say. He really is. I mean, like the booty was bootying. If I do say so myself. But it gets weird because he puts his hand down the drain and something cuts him, like a really big, deep cut.
Yeah.
And then all this shitty, like, brown water, like a big
and they're like,
shit
ew!
Comes out of the drain, yeah. And so they have this maintenance guy.
Like a pool, like, caretaker.
Yeah, come out and look at the pool. And I wrote down that this character is giving me like the Harbinger of Doom character. Yeah. He has this weird...
I loved him. He was probably my second favorite part of this whole film. He was great.
He's campy because he like delivers this dramatic monologue about like...
I thought...
Man descended from... we evolved out of water and now the water's our enemy and we have to try and tame it. It's like, girl, it's water. Like... Yeah. It's not that serious.
And then he has like a good jump scare because he like slips on like
the what's it called?
The diving board while he's being like really like still.
Yeah.
But he explains that it's a natural spring.
Uh-huh.
And that I guess like there used to be like spas around here.
Yeah.
And like so you all just lucked out. It's like it naturally filters and it's just like
apparently it's like good for you.
Yeah, it's healthy for the body.
Good for your skin and your and the body. So they're like, okay, like I'm sure
we do? And they're like nothing, it'll just clean itself.
Yeah. So they fill the pool up and we get a montage of them enjoying the pool and having swim days and they do this thing which we used to do growing up is you throw the coins into the water and go diving for them. Did you use
coins?
Yeah, because they're like coins are only shiny from a certain angle, so it's like something that you can. It kind of takes you a second to locate them, to identify them. So it's kind of like a fun thing to dive for, and they float really fast.
My aunt probably want to do that because like the filters, afraid of doing the
filters. Yeah. I guess you have to make sure you get them all. Yeah. That's part of it. But fun thing.
We always use like pool toys.
Yeah,
like the ones that just...
I think of like those the kind of phallic looking ones. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, pool dicks
or the rings. I was like,
or rings
because I like to like use my hand and like bring them all onto my arm,
like bracelets.
Yes, like that's how you would do it. It's like no, you can't like grab them.
You have to serve cunt while you collect them.
Yes,
yeah, the pool toys. And I also just noted here because you told me to. You told me to note clunky editing.
yes. It was so jarring, like the cut, because like
they're having fun and they're all laughing, and then immediately cut to like silence. That night, like an exterior shot of the house, and the sound design was very like, okay, like why did we feel the need to get really loud and then get really quiet all of a sudden?
It was just such a jarring cut. And it's not the first one in this film.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird...
Or, no, it is the first one. It's not the last one in this film is what I meant to say.
Right.
There's a few, like, editing choices. So I want to give a shout out to Jeff McAvoy.
Not you just calling out that editor, bitch.
Because, Jeff, you made some choices.
Sorry to this man, Jeff. Sorry to this man.
There's some really good cinematography.
We didn't like
shots and like.
Oh yeah, okay. So we'll get into that. So in this next scene, I noted there was some great camera work because we see the mom going for a night swim.
Oh my goodness! The first one.
The
second one. Sorry.
And she's just doing some laps. She's just doing some freestyle.
Yeah.
You know.
some time alone in the pool. Why not?
And she does hear her cat meowing, and she peers up over the water, and they have a pet cat. Very cute. I can't remember what color this cat was. I think it was a black cat.
Gray?
It was a gray cat? Okay.
Yep.
And his name was Cider, I think.
Cider.
Good
thing you remember that.
She's like, Kitty, why are you spooked by the pool? And, I mean, cats are just naturally, like, spooked by water. Like...
Yeah.
So it's normal for your cat to be like trepidatious.
Fuck that. Like, I'm not going near that water.
Yeah, I'm not going in the water. Meow, bitch. Meow. And so she's like, okay. She kind of doesn't really think anything of it. She's like, the cat's just being a cat. And she starts swimming some more. And this is when we get a great camera shot. So, you know, when you're doing like freestyle stroke in the pool and you have to like bring your head up over your shoulder so you can take a breath.
Yeah.
And then you put your head back down to keep like stroking. The camera is from her POV as she's looking like she's going up to take a breath and she sees like above the surface of the water.
Yeah.
And then she goes down, we see like the bottom of the pool.
Yeah.
And I started immediately like getting really tense because I was like, oh, you know that like the camera's gonna pan and some bitch is gonna fucking be standing there to like jump scare. And it was really cool. She sees very quickly the dad is like standing there outside the pool looking down on her.
Yeah, some really good like I thought this film, like, cinematography-wise, is great.
Yeah. Like, because you can see a lot of movies that nowadays, like, take place underwater. So I recently watched,
and I don't like
for the first time, The Creature from the Black Lagoon, the original, like, Universal monster movie.
Yeah.
And a lot of that movie was super innovative at the time because it was some of the first, like, really cool underwater footage.
Yeah.
That was recorded for a movie. And it's hard. And, you know, they did some very unique things with the camera work in that movie. And we fast forward all these years later, and we've had, like, Jaws, we've had all these shark movies and all kinds of underwater movies that it's hard to find ways to be creative with underwater shots at this point. But I think they did in this movie. And this is this is a good example of that. So I will definitely give credit where it's due. Some really cool creative cinematography.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, she gets spooked by seeing her husband, and she like submerges from the water and no one's there. And so she's like, the fuck? And she goes back inside. Oh, and she also notices that the lights are flickering. The pool lights keep flickering in and out. And she goes back inside, and she finds her husband is asleep in bed.
Yeah.
And she's like, what the fuck? And then we see that the cat is out on the edge of the diving board looking into the waters. And it kind of zooms in on the cat. And then that boat, that motorized boat,
pops up.
Yeah.
It's like, boop.
And the cat's like watching it.
The cat's like, meow, bitch.
Meow, bitch. The next morning, the son discovers the cat's collar floating in the pool.
Yeah.
And the cat is missing.
Oh, I don't think that kitty's missing.
Yeah. And it's every movie you see a cute pet, and you just know that motherfucker is dead meat, because that's just scary movies for you. They're gonna kill the family pet.
Sad. Can I be real?
Be real.
For me, it's not as sad because I'm a dog person. If I were a dog, I'd be really upset.
Stevie!
The cat, I'm like, yeah, that's sad. But I'm like, you're a cat.
like,
why'd you go near the water? That was dumb of you.
You're like,
dogs
fuck,
near the
fuck
water.
them
I'm like,
cats.
oh my god, stop! You're so stupid. You know what? He might still be alive. We don't know. We don't know.
I don't know, bro. I don't know how that goes.
Cider. No.
Sorry to burst your bubble on that one, but I don't know.
No, I don't hate cats. I promise. I love cats. I'm just allergic.
Me too. I'm allergic to cats.
And so
too.
I can't have a
love
cat.
cats' personalities. I definitely think that they have really cool personalities. And I would own a cat, but I'm too allergic, unfortunately.
Yeah, they make my eyes itchy.
Me too. And they give me like kind of asthma a little bit. Make me stuffy. Then we see the dad is inside, and he unwraps his wound after getting cut from the pool drain earlier. And it's like completely healed. as if by magic.
Yeah. It's crazy. What's going on?
But after this incident of losing the cat, they're like, we need to install a pool cover. So they do that. They decide to go out and buy a new pool cover.
Smart. It's safe. You
should have had one anyway, I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't get one of those motorized ones, though. They got the one where you have to, like, physically crank it. And I'm like, just go for that motorized. But anyway. We see the dad at physical therapy getting some testing done. And the doctor actually says, I have never seen such a dramatic improvement in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
Like, she's shook. And they're like, oh, that's good. And the dad, like, he says he's feeling better. And they're like,
yeah,
oh, I guess
we changed his diet.
And we got a pool.
And he goes, we got a swimming pool.
Yeah.
He's like, it's like the way he says that. I was like, oh my God,
wow.
What the fuck?
So they
like, I'm like, if somebody said that to me, I'm like,
okay. So they're like assuming, I guess the pool is just like doing wonders. Maybe that's the natural spring
like
water.
swimming, like the exercises, or like,
wow. And the next day, the dad even is lifting some very heavy ass weights.
Yeah.
And the son comes up and is like, "Hey, Dad, Mom doesn't want me swimming by myself. Will you come and throw coins into the pool so I can go dive for them?" And
also the son noticed before the dad came in, because he was looking for the dad, that like on the TV was like old highlights of his dad playing baseball. So his dad is like still very
reminiscing and
very clearly like hung up on like
his condition,
and the old days.
Yeah,
and what he really wants.
And so the dad is like, I'm going to sit here and lift weights, but I give you permission to go to the pool by yourself.
Which, okay, do not let children swim in a pool by themselves. That is so dangerous. You never swim alone.
And
it's so dangerous.
The kid goes swimming.
Especially children.
And he's underwater and he's playing with his Aquaman action figure. And we see someone throw a coin into the pool. And then it starts throwing more and more coins, kind of leading him. I think he assumes it's his dad.
Yeah.
Throwing coins in for him. And he is being led to the drain of the pool. And he looks up and he sees the little girl from the beginning of the movie standing there at the top of the pool looking down at him. And he goes up, he surfaces, and there's no one there. And then we see that there's someone, he's like underneath the diving board.
Yeah.
And something starts banging on the diving board and it's like jump scares him.
Yeah.
And we see from like underneath the diving board point of view that there's someone standing on top of the diving board. And like jumping up and down on it. And then he kind of like gets up and he looks on top of the diving board and there's no one there. Then we hear the little girl's voice coming.
Like, hello?
Hello? It's me, Rebecca Miller.
Rebecca Summers.
Rebecca Summers? Who the fuck is Rebecca Summers? Who's this bitch? Being like, I'm in here, I'm in the thing. And it's that, okay. So I do have to give a little backstory about my childhood when it comes to this particular part of a swimming pool. So we all know that there's that thing in a swimming pool. Those are like the
drain. Those are a drain.
Is that the drain?
It's in, if like something gets into the pool, it gets filtered out into that.
Filtered into this like drain chamber thing.
So you can get like, it's honestly sometimes animals are in them.
Okay, yeah. But I don't know, a lot of bugs.
So it's like sometimes like bugs will get into it
or toys that kind of float in there.
Yeah.
And so my cousin Schaefer, shout out to my cousin Schaefer. Hey Schaefer, I know you're listening. We used to always play in the pool together growing up. And that thing we called the Hotel California because you know there's that lyric in the song, once you check in, you never check out.
Shut up.
So if toys ever got trapped, it was like a urban legend in our family while we were playing that if your toys ended up in the Hotel California, you'll never get them back again because once you check in, you never check out.
Damn.
So
did you ever lose a toy?
yeah, but then like my grandpa would be like, "I'll get it for you guys." Like, it was fine. It was chill, but like there was that initial like,
oh my god, they could be gone forever.
And I have all these memories of like Schaefer and I being like, "Hurry, get that toy before it goes into the Hotel California." So, yeah, we see this or we hear this like little girl coming from the Hotel California, and then he sees his action figure that I guess isn't Aquaman, but I thought it was Aquaman.
It's not Aquaman. We have confirmed it is not Aquaman.
And this almost felt like an homage of It chapter
That's
1.
what I thought.
Of when Georgie is looking down and he sees Pennywise in the sewer. Because Elliot is looking into the Hotel California.
And it's doing a lot of the same angles.
A lot of the same angles as that scene. And he goes in, he reaches in to the Hotel California to grab the action figure. And there's some like hair, these strands of like long gray nasty hair that starts to rise out of the Hotel California. And then this what is this thing? Okay. This is when we see like the creature for the first time. Okay.
Oh, it is.
How would I even begin to describe this creature? It's like a
shapeshifter, I think, because it kind of
never looks different every time we see it. Yeah,
every time we see it, it looks kind of different
and bad CGI.
Bad CGI.
It's very like
it's one of those things
come
where
on,
like this
just use practical effects.
This have been makeups.
Do makeup.
Practical effects. Like
it looked horrible. It looked
this
horrible.
movie. I'm looking at $15 million. I'm like, and how much did you spend on that shitty CGI?
That shitty CGI.
How much that could have been spent on makeup? That would have looked way better.
Would have looked so much better because it's this like CGI
especially because the water, the
monster.
pool's always filtered anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my god, the makeup didn't need to be like perfect.
Exactly.
It'd be very easy to make it.
You could have used the medium of having it underwater to disguise the fact that it's not
the monster.
very
it's like a ghost.
Yeah, it's like a kind of a goblin-y swamp monster ghost with glowing blue eyes, I think,
and a weird face.
Weird like bleh, kind of face. And the long hair, and it grabs Elliot.
And it has like these
starts to with clawed hands.
Clawed hands.
Yeah. And starts to grab Elliot into the Hotel California.
Yeah.
And Elliot gets away, and we see it kind of go bleh, and like go back down into the Hotel California.
Yeah.
And he runs and he goes and tells his mom, and is freaking out. And then the mom has a discussion about it with the husband. And the parents are basically like, I'm sure he's fine. Like, it's just a new school, and he's transitional.
It's more the dad is kind of like deflecting, be like, oh my god, it's fine. It's because he doesn't have any friends or son's a loser.
Yeah, they like read the shit out of their son.
And the mom's like
he's kind of a little pathetic dweeb. I'm sure he's fine.
And mom's like, no, he'll make friends. But she's also still kind of like, I don't know. Like, I saw some shit too.
And she was like, And the dad's like, we should throw a pool party, and invite all the neighborhood kids, invite his kids, because the son he joined the baseball team. And so he's like, we'll invite the kids from his baseball league, or whatever the fuck it's called in baseball, to come out and go to a pool party at our house, and then he can get to know the other kids, is the vibe. Then we cut to the baseball practice. And the dad, who, again, was a former, like, professional baseball player, IRL, is gonna come and, like, assist and do, like, a hitting workshop with the kids, or whatever you would call it. It's like I almost said rehearsal. Batting workshop. I almost literally called it a hitting rehearsal.
Hitting rehearsal, beating.
I don't know sports, okay? But I do know that there is a kid who is way better than
do you want to know
the dad's actual
the funniest thing about me?
What's the funniest
thing?
The
reason I know a lot about sports is because I would play the Mario sports games and the backyard sports games. So that's how I learned, like, rules for the most part.
From video games.
From video games. Because I liked those games when I was a kid.
Yeah. Fun fact.
So I know a lot about sports, is all I'm saying.
You're so mask.
I know. Thank
Wow.
you. I know a lot of sports rules. So, like, baseball, I'm like, I know what shit is.
Girl, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
And my dad, like, played baseball and tried to get me to play baseball. And he was my coach. Oh, my God. But let's not unpack my trauma on the pod.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's a kid at practice who is way better and likes baseball way more than the dad's actual son. Mm-hmm. And he's like, gee willikers, Mr. whatever the fuck their name is. It's so nice to meet a real baseball player. Like, he's that kind of, like, sports enthusiast kid.
Yeah.
And the actual son is, like, jealous. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because they're, like, making him do it so that he can...
Yeah.
I don't know, try and... So his dad can live vicariously through him, basically.
It's not his thing.
It's not his thing. And that kid, the kid who is a big baseball fan and actually kind of good at baseball, his dad is the actual coach of the team. They're like, okay, well, why don't you show us how to bat? Like, we'll do a couple, like, so you can kind of show your skills off to the kids a little bit. And the coach dad starts pitching. Is that the word?
Yes, very good, Parker. It is called pitching.
And look, the only baseball scenes I know are from Sleepaway Camp and Twilight, bitch.
Not a League of Their Own?
Oh, and A League of Their Own with Madonna.
Madonna.
Oh my God, we're
And
seeing...
Gina Davis.
And Gina Davis. We're seeing Madonna this week.
We're seeing Madonna this week.
Yeah, we can. We'll tell the pod now, but we're just like we did back in December or whatever. We are going to see Madonna in Chicago, so we're gonna do another on the road pod
Next week. That'll be on the road.
Mm-hmm. And it's another classic. We won't give spoilers away, but it's a good one.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm very excited for next week's episode. Anyway, back to this shithouse movie.
He's playing baseball. He's gonna swing. He's up to bat.
Yeah. And they start pitching him some
Ray is
balls.
up to bat.
And it's a swing and a miss because...
Strike.
Yeah, he gets kind of controlled, like, by the invisible force of the entity.
Yeah.
It's causing him to strike out. And it's like, what the fuck? And we get, like, this weird cut back to, like, just, like, a static shot of the pool. Like, to be, like, the pool's controlling him. Like, just in case you didn't know. And then
It's so stupid.
It's so stupid. And then on the third one, he's like, no, let me try. And he gets it. He hits the ball, and he hits it, like, impossibly hard. Like, it splits the ball open.
Home run.
And the ball shoots out like a missile and and it's like the craziest home run you've ever seen.
If this movie wanted to be ambitious, that ball should have hit, like, the pitcher and, like, killed them.
Yeah,
like,
true.
This movie should have been insane.
Well, that's what I was wondering was going to happen. But it takes out one of the lights, right?
Yeah. Because I'm like, that would have been funny.
And all the kids are like, wow, your dad's awesome. And he's clearly being, we see his eyes start to gloss over too.
Yeah.
And he's clearly being influenced by whatever the entity is that lives in the pool. The next scene, the daughter character, which again, remind me her name. Izzy. Okay, so it's the guy from the swim team.
Yeah.
Who originally...
The parents are gone. She tells Elliot, shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah, do not tell mom and dad that I am bringing a boy over.
Or I will kill you.
Or I will fucking cut your dick off, kid. And he's like, okay. And she goes and she's...
But let me know if they're coming. Thanks.
Yeah. She's having a night swim with her, like, boothing guy.
Her boyfriend.
And they decide to play Marco Polo. Do you have any Marco Polo memories? It's a classic pool game growing up.
We didn't really play that one as much. What we would play is, we did our own version of categories, but we would just kind of do it as, like, you just had to, like, wait and guess if somebody was going to, like, you just had to, like, choose to go across.
Oh, yeah. Instead of announcing
like,
categories.
Blue, green.
Categories is my favorite pool
But
game.
then I did play categories when I got older. That was always a fun one.
I feel like every time during Marco Polo, whoever was Marco, bitch, they were cheating as fuck.
So the water
got in my eye.
Oh, so I have to like blink.
Or like squinting really narrowly, and it's like, bitch, you have your eyes open. Oh, and that's the other cool thing is during this scene, there were some POV shots like with eyelashes on the screen or something, so that like it kind of looked like she was squinting through her eyes, as you do when you're cheating in Marco Polo, which I thought was cool cinematography. And the boyfriend guy, decides he's actually gonna. He fish out of waters her. That's what it is in Marco Polo when you get out of the pool. And he sneaks out of the pool. And so he's no longer playing, but someone keeps whispering, Polo, Polo. And she's feeling around, and and the voice leads her to the deep end. And this is when the demon pops out again, and he goes, Polo! And we laughed so hard. And that shot is the worst CGI in the whole movie.
Like,
it looks horrible.
It was bad.
And it drags her down, but she manages to get away. And the boy is like, hey, you didn't say fish out of water, da-da-da-da. And
she's like, what the fuck,
wait,
what the fuck?
Yeah, she's like, you weren't the person who pulled me down?
And he's like, you were underwater for like 6 seconds.
Yeah.
He was like, you weren't down there that long.
And she's like, what the fuck?
But like, she was gone for like a bit. Didn't she? Yeah.
And also, that's the first time that we notice that when this entity is like out at night,
you kind of go into it's like
there's like a shadow, like the deep end of the pool gets obscured in like shadows.
Yeah.
And it kind of looks like
are in the shadows, like reality is like twisted.
Yeah, and like the surface of the pool looks really far away, like miles away, kind of, or not miles away, but meters away. I guess.
It's like.
And
you gotta swim.
So it's almost like it reminded me of the sunken place from Get Out, and it also this kind of shadowy tendrils reminded me of the darkness from Twitches.
Yes. Oh my god, it did. It did look like that.
And
great movie.
Oh, great movie. But that's kind of what it looks like. It looks like the darkness is at the bottom of your pool.
Yes.
And she's spooked. She's like, what the fuck? And the brother notices that she's spooked. And the next day he goes and the brother confronts her. And they admit to each other that they've both seen the entity. But the sister is like, do not make a big deal out of this because I'm sick of moving around.
And dad is feeling better, mom's happy.
Yeah. And I have a new boyfriend, so fuck you, we're not moving. You know what?
I'm getting won't go swimming anymore. You can't go swimming anymore. Boo-hoo.
Boo-hoo. So just don't go in the pool, and everything will be fine, and don't bring it up to mom and dad, period. And they decide that they're just gonna not talk about it. And then they have the pool party. And this was a funny moment of the real estate agent. She comes to the pool party and she brings a Jell-O mold.
She's like, this is for the adults only.
She says it has enough Captain Morgan in it to get Phil back into his famous Bermuda G-string. And you see her husband Phil, and he has a big smile on his face, like, oh.
And I'm like, oh, girl.
I wanted to see Phil in that G-string.
Come on.
The brother gets a camera set up on a tripod in the garage to like record the pool party.
Yes.
Because he's watching to see if he can record the entity. Mm-hmm. Which I think it's funny how the entire premise of this pool party was to try and have the brother get to know his teammates and have some friends.
Yeah.
But he's just like chilling in the garage, spying on them, basically. Yeah. And he watches as the dad starts playing chicken. Oh, well, first, that little kid that loves baseball, whose dad is the coach of the team.
He found the ball.
He found the ball, which is, we see, literally split down the side.
Yeah, like the seams are all busted.
And he is a big fan of the dad. And he's like, will you sign the ball for me? Yeah. Like, G. Willikers, Mr. Whatever, will you sign this ball for me? The dad signs it for him, and it's a cute moment of like, oh, like, you know, thank you, fan or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, do you want to play chicken?
Because, he says, like, one of the guys who's playing chicken, he's like, he calls him Shrek on steroids.
Yeah. He starts playing chicken with this kid. If you don't know what chicken is, it's like, it's this game where someone is on your shoulders, and and then another team of 2 are on each other's shoulders, and you're trying to push the other team's player over.
Yeah.
Which you noted that there are too many people in this pool, and it's too narrow of a pool to play chicken.
They were if they went a certain way, they would have hit their heads on the
curb or whatever.
The curb of the pool. I'm a pool rule stickler because I grew up around a pool because of my aunt.
Uh-huh.
So like, you don't run around a pool. You don't.
It's dangerous.
You don't jump when other. They were jumping off the
diving board when there were
with a bunch of people there. It's like, you tell people to move, and because everyone weirdly in this movie, this pissed me off during this pool party. Everyone's hanging out in the deep end. It's like, get into the shallow end.
Hang out in the shallow end. Don't hang out in the deep end.
The deep end is when people are like jumping in
or diving for shit.
Yeah.
So like, what are you doing just chilling on your floaties in the deep end?
It was like, okay, no.
That bothered me.
That family clearly did not have pool rules.
Yeah.
And if those pool rules had been established, I think this monster would have never gotten their hands on them.
Exactly.
I don't think that's true,
think that what happened in this scene wouldn't have went down that way like it does. Because what happens is, well, first we see inside the mom and the realtor are chatting. And the realtor decides that she's going to spill the tea. Finally, after they've already bought the house. She's like, okay, hey, bestie. Hey, girl. So, probably now's just as good of a time as any to let you know.
Because I've had a bit of that Jell-O.
Yeah, she's had some of that Captain Morgan, and she's like, so, here's the thing. The previous family
didn't like the pool.
Because they heard that the previous family before them, that the daughter drowned in the pool. Yeah. Sorry I didn't tell ya.
And she was like, and the mom, because the son remembered the name, because when he was in the pool, the little girl was like, it's me, Rebecca Summers. And the mom says, is her name Rebecca?
And she's like, how did you know her name was Rebecca?
And it's like, uh-oh.
And then, just at that same time,
they win chicken.
And the dad is the one, obviously, like the kid's on his shoulders, and so he's under the water,
and he starts like backing up,
and the darkness, kind of the shadowy tendrils that looks like the darkness from Twitches, comes up and goes into the dad's mouth and like possesses him and up in his nose. And the dad gets possessed by the entity.
Yeah,
like
it's
full
kind of
on
like
possession.
Incredible Hulky, what his body does a bit.
And his eyes kind of glow and get all like black. They kind of black out.
Yeah.
And then he starts, basically he like grabs the kid's legs that are on his shoulders and starts drowning this kid. Like starts walking backwards.
He won't let
down the
go.
incline.
He's gripping the kid's legs like so hard the kid can't like.
Yeah, and it's so we see that he grips his legs so hard that they were bruised. That's how hard that the dad was like drowning this kid.
And this was another choppy edit because like the dad comes in, like the kid's dad comes in and is like, "What the fuck?" And,
oh my god! And they start
jump in, they get the kid out, and then like they're all freaking out. And then Eve runs out and Elliot runs out, and then they're like, "Oh my god, Dad's still in the water!" And like we see him like all the way submerged. Then we cut to the kid. And then being like, oh my god, are you okay? And then we just immediately cut to the dad being out of the water.
Yeah, we never see how he made it out. Yeah. I thought he was being dragged down by the entity, but like he's fine, I guess.
He's just out of the water now?
Yeah.
Like, they just acted like, who got him?
And the mom is like, oh my god, like, whatever his name is, Ray. She's like, Ray! And we see that she brings him back inside. And he's in bed, and she's calling the doctor. And while they're waiting for the doctors to come and check him out, he starts talking to the wife, and he's like, just take me back to the pool. Just a few more minutes in the pool. And he's like, it's so cool in the deep. So cool in the deep. And it's not scary. It's like, oh, this dialogue. Like, girl.
She's like, okay.
But the wife is sketched out, and she decides that she's going to drain the pool. So she drains all the water out of the pool. And she starts to research the house. And she notices that there's this trend. She starts looking up all the original old owners of the house. And somebody from each family went missing. So she decides that she is going to visit Rebecca Summers family. The little girl who drowned.
Yeah.
She
finds...
looks them up. And we see that it is just now the mother of that family.
And it is an immaculate...
It is a McMansion, bitch.
It is immaculate. The
gorgeous house.
It's beautiful.
It's like a palace.
And the son, we learn, is alive and healthy. He works for the government, and that's why she has all this wealth and is living such a lavish life.
Loaded. And the mom, she's an older woman, and she is on, what you gonna call it? She has like breathing tubes in. And Eve asks this woman about her daughter.
Well, she first asks about the house, and the mom is just like, oh, me and my son loved it. My son loved swimming in that pool. My son. And she's like, you had a daughter, girl. Like, what happened to her? And she's like,
I don't remember her.
No, it's just me and my son.
No, just the son.
I haven't heard of him.
I haven't heard of him.
So you really like Ariana Grande?
Yeah,
What about Demi Lovato?
I haven't heard of him.
And the mom's like, well, there's something wrong with the pool. And I think that it's like possessed my family and it's fucking everything up. And what's going on? And the woman starts coughing all just crazy.
Yeah.
And she's like very nervous. And she starts crying black tears.
And she takes a drink of water.
And she tells the story of a spring that used to be there naturally before they built the house and built the pool. And the water apparently has mystical powers. And if you flick a coin into the water and make a wish, that the water will grant you your wish. But there's one condition. You have to pay for the wish with somebody's life. And then we see a flashback to 1992, and we see that the mom purposely sacrificed her daughter in exchange for her son, who was sick, to be healthy.
Possessed by the entity. And so, like, she had to fulfill.
So that's what happened
and so
to
she
Rebecca.
Tells Eve that, like, your husband's going to be fine. He's the one who's been taken. He's gotten the wish. He's received the wish, and I guess the dad's wish was to regain his health. Yeah.
So he could play baseball again, probably.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, someone else is going to have to die and be sacrificed to the entity. And then her eyes start getting all fucked up, and she's all nasty, and
she starts coughing up like black
blood, and her breathing tube gets all filled with like the black liquid, and it's nasty.
It's gross. And so I'm confused if she died or not.
Yeah, the mom doesn't even care. She's just like, bye. Like, I'm out of here, bitch.
We never really got clearance on that one.
No, we just.
But maybe it's more assuming that, like, because she was taken over by the entity, it does, like, a part of it stays with you forever.
I think so. Yeah.
Probably.
Kind of like The Ring or, curse movies like that. Shit like that. Or The Grudge and stuff like that.
And so maybe, like, talking about it and revealing the secret, like...
made it come out, I guess. Then we see, back at home, the dad is taking a shower, and the entity possesses him again. The kids come home, and the son hears the cat.
And the mom's, like, phone, like, got ruined at the old lady's house.
And she's rushing home to try and stop them from going to the pool, kind of.
Yeah, don't go to the pool.
And yeah, the son, they're back at the house, and they're looking for their parents, and the son hears the cat, Cider, meowing from outside.
And while he's looking around, he's like just kind of like flashing the flashlight, and then all of a sudden he just kind of notices the pool is completely filled. And he's like,
I thought we drained this.
And the pool float is just like...
There's like a pink flamingo kind of pool floaty, I think. And he sees the shadow,
which I did think that was kind of funny. The thing is, this movie had so many opportunities to just be really campy, and they really leaned into it.
They played it too straight for me. They should have, definitely leaned into the camp a little bit more. But we see that there's like this kind of cartoony shadow of the cat, like in silhouette
on the float.
Yeah, so it looks like the cat is on that pink flamingo floaty.
So he's like trying to get around to like see it.
And the son climbs up on the diving board and climbs up to the edge of the diving board to try and get the cat, try to save the cat.
Yeah.
And then the pool floaty turns around and we see that the cat's not on there. There's nothing. And then the entity pulls him in.
Yeah.
And then we see that the pool cover starts to activate on itself and starts to get pulled over this poor kid.
Yeah.
The sister comes out and tries to save him and tries to retract back the pool cover, and she's not going to get it. But then the mom shows up right on time and starts helping her, and they like aren't able to retract the pool cover. So the mom's like, just go inside and get help. And the mom jumps in to save Elliot.
Yes. And there was, during all this, one of the kids like poured a glass of water that was on, and they left it on the counter, and it's been moving, and so it's now fallen over.
This reminded me of the Final Destination movies, because it's like an invisible entity, like creating some kind of trap that's going to kill you or is going to hurt you, like how it is in Final Destination. And
the computer explodes in the first one.
Yeah, stuff like that. And this is a water glass that falls over and it crashes on the ground. And there's a bunch of broken wet glass all over the floor.
Yeah, and
the sister runs inside to get help, and she slips on the water and she lands right on the broken pieces of glass and gets a bunch
stabs herself with all the glass, and it's and I don't like stuff like this.
Yeah, you don't like body horror.
No.
And so she's kind of like, she's fucked up from that.
Yeah.
And the mom decides, which I thought this was smart, she takes a hose, like a loose water hose, and ties it to the pool cover thing. And then she's going to use it as like a breathing tube. So she can make it down there to save Elliot. Because the pool is doing that thing where like the shadowy tendrils are coming up. And so she's going to go into like the sunken place pretty much to try and save him. Then the daughter is inside. She like picks the glass out of her arms and she's going and she's starting to call for help. But then the dad jump scares her.
He's like, hey, what's up?
But then he slowly reveals he's possessed. And he attacks her, and he like grabs a chunk out of her hair.
Oh my god!
I was like, damn!
Beating the fuck out of her.
Starts beating the shit out of his daughter, and the mom is swimming down to the sunken place, and she finds Elliot down there. But then the other like victims of the curse from before, they appear and start to like grab her and pull her down. All these like weird pool ghosts.
I'm on your side.
Yeah, exactly. But that reminds me of like The Shining. And then we see the daughter in the garage hiding from the dad. He's like, Marco. And then he jump scares, he appears behind her and he goes, you're supposed to say Polo. I thought that was really camp. Like, again, lean into the camp. Then we see back at the bottom of the pool, the ghost of the little girl who was killed in the beginning of the movie. Yeah. She appears and she actually helps them.
She's like as a guide and like leads them.
She shows them that the entity is making her think that she's swimming up to the surface, but she's actually been swimming down this whole time. So she's like, oh, thank you. And she like reverses her track and swims up to the actual surface of the pool.
Yes.
And they bring the boy out and they start to like resuscitate him. But then the dad appears and he's like, you're too late.
And he lifts her up. He grabs me by the neck and like lifts her up.
Like then, Michael Myers choking.
And then Izzy comes in with a baseball bat and checks him in the knee.
Yeah, which I noticed we never saw what happened when the dad was like, you were supposed to say Polo, and like attacked her. We have no idea how she got out of that situation.
Did she run away?
Yeah, like we don't know. We'll never know.
Because we saw the clip of her like grabbing the baseball bat and I'm like,
what
happened?
Then we see that the dad is like, it kind of reminded me of like Harry Potter when Voldemort possesses Harry and his friends are like, remember who you are, Harry, and like hang on to the light. Shit like that.
Remember the family. Remember everything good.
Remember
like,
everything good. You've got this.
And we just got like
fight
a flash
the demon.
montage of like his family and stuff,
Yeah.
and
like the power of friendship, basically, like saves his life, and he like wakes up from the possession and he pukes out all this like black liquid
sludge.
So you can assume like, oh, that was him puking out the demon, kind of.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, and Elliot like returns to normal. He regains consciousness, and they're all like, oh, everything's fine. But then Izzy starts to get possessed, and the dad's like, wait, oh my God, one of us is going to have to surrender ourselves, or else the demon will never stop. And it's all dramatic, and he's like, I'll sacrifice myself. So he's like a martyr, I guess.
Yeah.
And he goes into the pool and gets devoured by this shadowy entity and saves the daughter, and everything's fine now.
Yay.
Yeah. And then we see a home video of the dad that he recorded telling them how much he like loves the family or whatever. So it's like sentimental. Yeah. And it feels very like, it lacks closure, I guess. Like,
yeah, it's just kind of like...
We don't really see them like dealing with like the pain of losing their dad.
Like, okay, we're just gonna seal up this pool.
Yeah, they decide that they're gonna stay in the house so that there won't be a new family that will get like tricked by the entity.
Yeah.
And that's what Dad would have wanted, I guess. And then the last shot is POV of they like, we'll just fill the pool in with cement.
Yeah.
And we see it like getting filled in.
Yep. And that's it. That's night.
Kind of anticlimactic, I thought.
It just kind of was like, okay,
it's over.
And nothing really, 2 deaths the whole movie, not really.
Yeah. Didn't really ever go there, I felt like.
Yeah.
Kind of went there.
I will also say the first death, that girl sold it.
Yeah, the first scene, I bet that's what the original
like
short film was just like one cool death scene.
Yeah.
And they could have made a cool movie about it further and like develop it more. But this movie doesn't really take it to any fun places, I felt like.
No.
It was fine. It was fun.
Because also,
there were moments.
The whole, like, underwater world, like, alternate world thing, that's been done before. That was Encourage the Cowardly Dog. There's a whole episode about that.
It's been done to death.
It's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think this movie really... And like I said, I think the whole story they come up with, of, like, it was a spring, and... Yeah, it was not my favorite.
But... it's a January horror movie.
It was...
And compared to some shithouse movies I've seen in January before.
Yeah.
This one's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Won't be a rewatch for me, probably.
No. Me neither.
But we had fun.
But we had fun. There are moments that made us laugh. And we got some memes out of it. And that's what matters. And anyway... next week, we will be on the road, and we'll be giving a classic horror movie.
I'm excited.
I'm so excited for this movie.
It should be a good one.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us on Let's Scream this week. We hope you had a fun time with us at the pool.
The swimming pool. Please remember to follow the pod, like the pod, and leave a glowing review of the pod, of course.
And you can also send us movie requests for future episodes. You can follow me at Parker_Will_C on Instagram. And you can follow my music on... I'm Parker Will C on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, all the streamings.
And you can follow me at StevieNash95 on Instagram. Until next time, this has been Let's Scream.
Bye. Bye.